I have been seeing these hanging planters all over my Pinterest feed for the last few months and finally decided I need to make one. So I'm taking one of these nesting boxes from the Dollar Tree along with two medium-sized wreath rings that I got from Walmart. I have seen these at Dollar Tree, but not recently. I do have a whole Christmas video using the Dollar Tree ones for even more ideas. To attach the rings to the box, I'm grabbing my bronze eye pins from this variety pack. I will need 4 of these as well as 4 bronze jump rings. I got both of these from Amazon and will link them in my description box. Next, I found where I wanted the rings to sit on the sides of the box and marked where the screw would go and then added the eye pins. It was a little difficult to get them started. I ended up taking a small nail and hammered it so the screw would have kind of a pilot hole. And then you want to make sure the hook part is facing horizontal rather than vertical. Once both eye pins were screwed in on one side, I added the jump rings into the hook and then attached the wreath ring before closing up the jump rings. And then repeated this process of adding the eye pins, jump rings, and wreath ring to the other side of the box. Now, the wreath rings will not automatically lean into each other, so to get that look, I'm using 2mm macrame cord. You could use jute twine, yarn, whatever you have, but I glued the starting end of the cord to the ring using my Starbond super glue. I would not recommend using hot glue here if you want the project to hold up over time. Then I wrapped the center of the rings together as long as I wanted it to be, and then glued the end back down. You could stop here, add a hanger, and be done. I wanted to add a little bit more detail to the top, so I took this wood ring, also from Amazon. All of my Amazon products will be linked below for you, but to attach it, I glued it down first to hold it in place, and then I wrapped more macrame cord around it a few times. I think my camera died for that part though. I also added a few wood beads in various sizes to another cord that would be the hanger. And to finish it off, I'm adding a loop and a wrap. So to make the wrap, create a loop as long as you want it for the very top where you will put it on a hook. Then take a separate cord and place it on top of the loop, making sure the end is sticking up, and then create a second loop going the opposite direction with the loose cord and make it longer than you want your wrap section to be. Now wrap all of the cords together. When you have it as long as you want, take the end of the wrapping cord and put it through the bottom loop. Then go back to the top loop, pull that cord tight. This will create a knot and conceal the knot inside of the wrap for a nice clean look. Now cut off the loose ends and that's it. Stick a plant in the box, hang it up and enjoy. I created this little plant nook when I made my living room built-ins and I love the way it's coming together. Let me know what you think about this project. Sticking with the plant theme, this next one is so easy and takes less than 5 minutes to create. This time I'm using 1 medium and 1 small wreath ring to create a trellis for one of my trailing plants to climb up. I attached the 2 rings together with my Starbond super glue. I didn't think this step through before starting, and I had to yell for my son to come spray the accelerator for me, so I apologize, he's in the way here for a second. Next, I'm taking this 16 gauge wire and cut 2 pieces. I know this angle is pretty awful. My shoulder is what's in focus, but I think you get the idea. Then I wrapped the wire around the bottom of the larger ring and squeezed it as tight as I could with my pliers. I thought this would hold the rings up and carefully stuck the wires into the plant. The wire wasn't quite tight enough around the rings, so I did end up gluing it in place. And then wrapped my plant around so it can start growing up the trellis. This is a Peperomia Hope. I love this plant and I can't wait for it to grow around the rings even more. Also, during my living room makeover, I bought this pole wrap and didn't end up using it, so today I realized this would be perfect for creating a circle shelf. Apparently, I'm trying to see how many ways I can make a circle shelf. Is this number 4 now? I think I'm losing track. But I just need to cut it down, and I want the circle to be 4 inches wide. When cutting pole wrap with a power saw, you want to leave it rolled up, and you do not need a power saw. This material is super easy to cut with a miter box as well. So I cut the wrap down to 4 inches and did that 3 times because of the size piece that I was starting out with. So to make sure all 3 pieces are the exact same size, I take the first cut and lay it directly on top of the next section that needs cut. And then bring my saw blade down and make sure it butts right up on the piece on top. This will make sure your pieces are cut perfect every time. In my opinion, this is way more precise than measuring. Next, I'm taking 2 of the large wreath rings for the form, and at first I was going to line the outside of the rings, but realized I would need to cover up the edges of the wood, so I decided to use the rings as almost the edge binding for the pole wrap. So I started gluing section by section using my Starbond super glue. I'm almost out of this glue. I use it so much, and I glued 1 wreath ring on either side of the pole wrap. There is a paper-like material on the back of the pole wrap, and it's like a purplish color. I wanted the inside to match the wood a little bit better, so I painted it with Burlap by Dixie Belle. For the shelf, I'm cutting down one of the Dollar Tree longwood signs. I have not been fortunate enough to find one of the blank wood ones, but I did find some of the Easter ones. And these are super easy to cut down. I did hold the sign up to the circle to see where I needed to cut, and then scored the board a few times on one side, bent it in a little bit to see the fold, and then cut along the other side. I did have to cut it lengthwise as well since it was a little bit too wide. Now to hold the shelf in place, I decided to add dowels. I have some serious RBF going on in this video. Oh my gosh, I must have been very focused. But once I had the shelf level, I drew a line so I knew where to glue it down. Next, I'm taking this faux leather ribbon from Dollar Tree and cut 2 pieces to the same length, and then glued them together for more of a high-end look. I tried using tacky glue at first. I thought that would work really well, and I didn't want that lumpy look that hot glue leaves, but the tacky glue just absorbed right into the fabric and did nothing. So I ended up using my trusty Starbond glue. Now I just need to attach the leather strap to the pole wrap, and I used these bronze upholstery tacks, and that's it for this one. For this project, I'm making a macrame wall hanging, and this one is pretty easy to make. I'm using 2mm macrame cord, but I actually think it would look better with the 4mm. For the main section, I cut 11 pieces at 70 inches long and 5 pieces at 60 inches long. I'm using the small wreath ring for this hanger, and I added 1 cord using the lark's head knot. Fold your cord in half and take the loop under the ring and pull the ends of the cord through the loop. Then place the 2 ends of the cord under the bottom of the wreath ring. I'm securing the cord on the bottom now as well. You take the end of the cord and wrap it around the ring to the left side of the cord, and then take the end again and wrap it to the right. This time pull the end through the middle of the loop and pull that tight, and do that with both cords. Next, I'm adding 2 more cords, one on either side of the first one using the lark's head knot, and then I tape my ring down in place so it is easier to work with. This time I'm going to make a square knot incorporating the center cords. So separate the individual cords so you use one from the left and one from the right. Create an L with the left cord over top of the center cords, pull the right cord on top, and then take the end behind the center cords and through the L. You don't want to pull this completely tight, leave a space at the top, and this is half of the knot. So repeat this going the opposite direction, starting with the right side, creating a backwards 4, and then pull the left cord behind and through, and now you can pull that tight. Next, attach the cord to the bottom of the ring the same way I did with the first cord, but you leave them off to the sides. They are going to be the outermost cords on the bottom. And then repeat this process until you have used all 11 of the 70-inch cords. Here's what it will look like with all 11 cords. There's a bit of a gap in the center. This is where the additional 5 pieces come in. Add them to the bottom using a lark's head knot. Next, I'm going to add a little detail with a macrame feather. I cut 20 more pieces at 6 inches each. Then take the 2 center cords from the ring. Those will be what we attach the feather to. Now take 2 of the 6-inch cords and fold them in half. Place one under the center cords with the loop facing to the left. Then take the second piece and pull the ends of the first piece through the loop, while also placing the ends from the second piece down through the loop of the first piece. And then pull the ends tight. I know that's a little complicated to explain, but I'm sure you can see what I'm doing, and you can always slow down the video if any of this is too fast. Then repeat that with all 20 cords. After all the cords are added, I brush them out using this wire dog brush, and then I straighten the cords with a flat iron and cut them into a feather shape. I was going to leave it like this, but I thought the hanging cords just looked too sparse. That's why I would suggest using 4mm cord instead of 2mm. So I ended up unraveling all of the hanging cords, but did not straighten them. I wanted there to be differentiation between the feather and the hanging cords. Last, I cut the bottom into a V shape, and that's it for this one.